The deep silence of space surrounded the human warship HSS Valiant as it drifted between the stars. The ship was a massive steel giant, built for war but wrapped in calm. Every corridor hummed with quiet power. The crew went about their duties, unaware that something was already watching them. Commander Rayner stood on the command bridge, his eyes fixed on the glowing stars. He had seen many battles, but something about that day felt wrong. The sensors had picked up a strange signal coming from a dark region of space, a place that did not exist on any map. It was faint, repeating every 30 seconds, like a heartbeat from the void. Source. Rayner asked. "Unknown, sir," replied the sensor officer. "It's not human. It could be a transmission. Or a trap." The commander's jaw tightened. "Plot a course. We'll investigate." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. They all knew what that meant. The unknown was dangerous, and in deep space, danger could come without warning. Still, no one questioned the order. The Valiant turned slowly, its engines lighting up like blue fire as it moved toward the signal. Hours passed. The signal grew stronger, clearer, sharper. The crew started hearing faint echoes through the comm system, strange whispers that didn't match any known frequency. The communication officer tried to filter them out, but the sound kept returning. It was like someone or something was trying to speak to them. "Commander," the officer said, voice shaking slightly, "it's changing. The signal's pattern, it's adapting to our system." Rayner frowned. "Adapting?" Before anyone could answer, the lights flickered. The hum of the ship's engines shifted in tone, like the sound of a heartbeat slowing down. The crew looked around, unsure if it was a malfunction or something else. Then suddenly the signal stopped. "Silence. Report," Rayner ordered. "No damage detected." "Systems are normal," the engineer replied. Rayner turned back to the stars. "Then why do I feel like we just stepped into a trap?" The Valiant entered the dark region. Outside there were no stars, just a thick black mist stretching endlessly. The crew stared out the viewing screens. Even the strongest scanners could not penetrate it. It was like space itself had vanished. "Commander," said Lieutenant Harper, "communications are down. No contact with Fleet Command." "Keep scanning," Rayner said. "There has to be something here." Moments later, the radar pinged. "Contact! Multiple readings." "Show me," the screen flashed. For a split second, the radar showed small blips. Then they disappeared. "Cloaked ships," Harper whispered. Before Rayner could react, the darkness outside erupted in bright blue light. Alien ships decloaked all around them, sleek silver designs with glowing edges and no visible engines. The first shot came from nowhere, slamming into the Valiant's shields with a thunderous blast. "Shields at 60%. Someone shouted, "Return fire!" Rayner commanded. The warship roared to life. Cannons fired, missiles launched, and beams of energy lit up the void. The Valiant fought like a beast cornered, every gun blazing. The crew worked in perfect sync, years of training turning into instinct. Explosions rippled through space as 2 alien ships went down, but more kept coming. "Who are they?" Harper yelled over the alarms. "No idea," Rayner said. "But they're not here for peace." The Valiant dodged another wave of plasma fire. The ship's AI, Echo 9, reported that the enemy's weapons were using unknown energy types, faster than anything seen before. The shields were holding, but only barely. "Focus all power to forward shields," Rayner ordered. "Bring us closer." "We fight them face to face." The Valiant surged ahead, cutting through the black mist. Its cannons tore through another enemy ship, ripping it apart. But as it exploded, a small, dark object detached from it, barely visible, drifting straight toward the Valiant. "Commander, something's approaching the hull." "What is it?" "Too small for a ship. Maybe a drone?" Before they could react, the object hit the hull with a dull clang. The ship shook, alarms screamed, and the lights dimmed. "Engineering, report." No answer. "Engineering, respond." Still silence. Harper looked up. "Commander, we're losing internal power on Deck 3. Rayner's heart sank. Deck 3 was where the main reactor control was located. If the power went out there, the entire ship could be crippled. "Send a team," he ordered. "Find out what's going on." Harper nodded and ran out with her security squad. They moved through the flickering corridors, weapons ready. The air felt heavier, colder. The sound of metal creaking echoed around them. When they reached deck 3, the door controls were dead. Harper pried it open manually. The room was dark except for the red emergency lights glowing faintly. Steam hissed from broken pipes. "Hello?" she called out. No answer. She stepped inside. The air smelled like burnt metal. Then she saw it, one of the engineers lying on the floor, his helmet cracked, his eyes wide open in fear. "Medical, we need a team here," she said, but the comms gave only static. Suddenly a shadow moved across the wall, fast, low, and silent. Harper turned her flashlight, but there was nothing there. Just the hiss of the ship's wounded systems. Another sound came, a faint clicking like claws on metal. "Did you hear that?" One of her soldiers whispered. Harper raised her weapon. "Stay sharp. Whatever hit us. It's on board." Far above, on the bridge, Commander Rayner watched the radar. The alien ships were retreating, vanishing one by one into the black mist. It didn't make sense. Why attack and then run? Unless they had already done what they came for. As he stared at the fading lights on the radar, a message flashed on his main screen for half a second before vanishing. "Intrusion detected." Internal threat. Rayner's eyes narrowed. He whispered to himself, "They didn't just attack us. They boarded us." And somewhere deep inside the ship, in the dark silence of Deck 3, something moved again. The hunt had begun. Lieutenant Harper moved slowly through the dim corridor, her flashlight cutting narrow paths through the smoke. The air inside the HSS Valiant had grown thick with the scent of burning wires and ozone. Her security team followed closely, their boots echoing on the steel floor. Every few seconds they stopped to listen. Somewhere in the darkness, something was moving. The power grid on Deck 3 had completely failed. Life support was running on emergency backup. The ship's heartbeat, the constant hum of the engines, felt weaker now, slower. Harper could feel her pulse racing faster with every step. "Lieutenant," whispered Sergeant Knox, the oldest soldier on her team, "whatever boarded us, it's not showing on thermal scans." "That's impossible," Harper said. "Everything gives off heat." Knox nodded grimly. "Not this thing." They turned a corner and froze. The walls were marked with deep, sharp cuts, as if something with claws had dragged itself along. At the end of the hallway, the light flickered, revealing streaks of dark green liquid smeared across the floor. "Blood," one soldier muttered. Harper knelt and touched it with her glove. It hissed softly, eating away at the metal beneath. She pulled back quickly. "Acid," she said. "Stay away from it." The ship groaned again, a low mechanical moan as if it too was in pain. Through her earpiece, Harper could still hear the faint hum of static. No signal from the bridge, no communication from engineering. They were alone. Then, from the shadows ahead, came a faint clicking sound. Slow at first, then faster, like something communicating. The soldiers raised their weapons. "Lights forward," Harper ordered. Beams of light cut through the corridor. For a moment nothing moved. Then a shape darted across the far wall, fast as lightning. Something metallic crawling low to the ground. "Contact!" Knox shouted. He fired, the plasma bolts slamming into the wall. Sparks burst, smoke filled the air, but whatever it was had already vanished. Harper's heart pounded. She turned to her squad. "We keep moving. No one splits up. Whatever it is, it's trying to separate us." They reached the entrance to reactor control. The massive steel doors had been torn open from the inside. Inside, the room was filled with darkness and a dull red emergency glow. 2 engineers lay on the floor, lifeless, their armor melted where the acid had touched. Harper stepped inside carefully. The main console was damaged, screens cracked, power lines sparking. In the center of the room stood a strange object, a piece of alien technology fused into the floor, pulsing faint blue light. "What the hell is that?" Knox whispered. "It wasn't here before," Harper said. "Bring the scanner online." As the team approached, the device emitted a soft humming sound, and a projection flickered above it. A hologram of symbols, moving and shifting like a living code. The soldiers stepped back instinctively. "It's trying to communicate," Harper said slowly. "But with what?" Then, without warning, a voice echoed through the room. It was low, distorted, but clear enough for everyone to hear. Human. Crew detected. The soldiers froze. Knox's eyes widened. Did that thing just speak English? The voice continued, more confident now. Your resistance is noted. You are efficient. Harper raised her weapon toward the device. Who are you? She demanded. The hologram flickered. We are the Kether. You have entered our territory. The warship will be claimed. Claimed? Harper said. You attacked us first. Survival defines ownership, the voice replied calmly. You survive. You keep it. You fail. We take it. Before Harper could respond, the blue light turned violent white. The hologram exploded into static, and a blast of energy threw them all backward. Alarms screamed as the reactor core surged. Power spike, Knox shouted. We have to shut it down! Harper staggered to her feet, coughing from the smoke. Do it manually! As the team rushed to the controls, movement appeared again. Fast, shadowy figures crawling along the walls and ceiling. Alien infiltrators, tall and thin, with skin like armor and eyes that glowed faint green. They moved with terrifying speed, their claws scraping the metal as they leapt down on the humans. Contact. Open fire. Blinding flashes filled the room. Plasma bolts tore through the air. One alien screeched as it fell, its blood hissing on the floor. But another slammed into a soldier, throwing him across the room. Harper fired point blank, the blast tearing through the creature's chest. It fell, twitching, but even in death, it reached out with a trembling hand toward the alien device. The machine pulsed once, then twice, as if responding to its dying kin. Knox shouted, We've got to go! The reactor's overheating. Harper looked at the console. Red warning lights flashed across every display. We can't leave this thing here. It's linking with the ship's systems. She grabbed a demolition charge from her belt and slapped it onto the alien device. Fall back! They ran through the corridor as the timer counted down. 5 seconds, 4, 3. The explosion rocked the ship, shaking the deck under their feet. The power lights flickered, then steadied. The immediate threat was gone, but the damage was spreading. Back on the bridge, Commander Rayner steadied himself as the blast registered on his monitors. What the hell happened down there? Static answered him. Then Harper's voice broke through, breathless. Commander, we found something. The aliens call themselves the Kether. They're already inside the ship, and they can speak our language. Rayner felt a chill crawl up his spine. They studied us, he said quietly. They've been watching humans for a long time. Harper's voice trembled slightly. Sir, there's more. That device, they weren't just attacking us. They were trying to connect to our systems. To learn. Rayner looked out the bridge window. The black mist outside still swirled, endless and silent. But he could feel it. Something bigger was waiting. He turned to his crew. Prepare all decks for containment. Lock down every section. No one moves alone. As the alarms echoed through the ship, Harper and her team made their way back toward the upper decks. The corridors were darker now, colder. And though the alien voices had gone silent, she couldn't shake the feeling that something was still following them, something that hadn't been destroyed in the blast. Somewhere deep inside the Valiant, the ship's lights flickered again, and for a brief moment, a soft alien whisper echoed through the comms. You learn fast, human. Commander Rayner stood on the bridge of the HSS Valiant, staring at the main screen filled with static. The ship was still trapped inside the black mist, surrounded by silence and fading power. The attack had stopped hours ago, but every second felt like a countdown. The crew worked quietly, repairing systems and checking the hull for more intrusions. No one spoke much. Everyone felt the same thing. The aliens were not gone. They were waiting. Status report, Rayner said. His voice was calm, but his eyes told another story. Shields at 40%, weapons at 60%, replied the tactical officer. Hull breach sealed on Deck 3. Engineering reports minor radiation leaks, but controllable. And communications. The officer hesitated. Still jammed, sir. It's like something is blocking every outgoing signal. Rayner clenched his fist. That mist isn't natural. They created it. It's a trap field. Lieutenant Harper entered the bridge, her armor still marked from the fight on Deck 3. She looked exhausted but focused. Commander, we managed to destroy the alien device, but before it exploded, it tried to merge with our system. I think it downloaded data from the ship. Rayner turned sharply. What kind of data? Crew files, ship layout, weapon specs, everything it could reach. It wanted to learn how we think, how we fight. Rayner stared at her for a moment, then exhaled slowly. They're studying humans. Testing us. Yes, Harper said. And they're not just soldiers. The one that spoke called them the Kethar. It said survival defines ownership. The Kethar, Rayner repeated quietly. So that's their name. Before he could say more, the main console beeped. A low electronic voice came from the speakers. The ship's intelligence system, Echo 9. Commander, it said, I have begun translating the remaining fragments of the alien transmission. The message contains tactical data and coordinates. Rayner approached the screen. Show me. The display filled with alien symbols, slowly rearranging into English. One line stood out, Kethar Vanguard Fleet, Phase 1 complete. Awaiting human response. A chill ran through the room. Harper frowned. They wanted us to come here. To test our reaction, Rayner nodded grimly. They're not just fighters. They're scientists. We were the experiment, Echo 9 continued. Records show similar signal patterns detected near Colony Orion 7, Vega Prime, and Earth Outpost Delta last year. All 3 sites were destroyed. No survivors. Silence filled the bridge. Everyone knew what that meant. Humanity wasn't facing a random attack. This was a long campaign. Rayner looked around at his crew. They'd been hitting small colonies first, measuring our strength. Now they're testing our warships. And if they win here, they'll come for Earth next. Harper stepped closer. Then we can't let them win. We hit them back before they finish analyzing us. Rayner's expression hardened. Agreed, but we're blind in this mist. We need to find their control source, the ship or device generating this interference. Echo 9's tone deepened. I can triangulate the origin of the field. It is approximately 9,000 kilometers from our current position, near the edge of this sector. Prepare navigation, Rayner said. Full stealth mode. We move quietly, the engines powered up slowly, the vibration running through the decks like a heartbeat returning to life. Lights flickered on across the ship as energy returned. Harper watched the stars fade and reappear through the thick mist. Commander, permission to lead a recon team when we reach the coordinates. Approved, Rayner said. But take heavy armor. Whatever's waiting out there won't be friendly. Hours later, the Valiant reached the edge of the field. Through the viewing window, the crew saw a strange structure floating in the darkness. A huge alien station built from black metal and glowing veins of green light. It pulsed like it was alive, sending waves of energy into space. Around it drifted the wrecks of smaller ships, human and alien both. That's it, Harper said softly. The heart of their system. Before anyone could react, Echo 9 spoke again. Commander, detecting movement. Multiple ships emerging from the station. The screen flared with red dots, dozens of them. The alien fleet was awakening. Battle stations, Rayner shouted. All hands, prepare for combat. The ship came alive in an instant. Sirens wailed, gun ports opened, and the great cannons of the Valiant powered up. The first wave of alien fighters came fast, their sleek shapes glowing against the black, fire at will. The Valiant unleashed its fury. Plasma fire streaked through space, hitting the first enemy wave. 2 alien ships exploded instantly, their debris scattering like burning stars. The crew cheered for a moment, but the cheering stopped when they saw what came next. A massive alien warship rose behind the smaller ones, dark as shadow, covered in shifting armor plates. It was twice the size of the Valiant. Rayner's voice dropped to a whisper. So that's their command ship, Echo 9's voice interrupted, calm but grim. Commander, the alien vessel is scanning us. They are attempting to breach our defense codes again. Block them, Rayner ordered. I am trying, said the AI. But their system is evolving, Harper stared at the enemy ship. They're learning from every move we make. Rayner's jaw tightened. Then we change the rules, he turned to his officers. Prepare an old Earth protocol, manual targeting, no digital link. If they want to learn our systems, we'll go human. The crew moved fast, switching to manual operations. The alien ship opened fire, and a blinding beam cut across the void, slamming into the Valiant's shields. The entire ship shook, metal groaning under the pressure. "Shields down to 20%, shouted the tactical officer. "Return fire, full power." Rayner commanded. The cannons roared, striking the alien ship in its central core. For a moment, the massive vessel staggered, green light flickering across its hull. The aliens fired again, but slower this time, confused by the sudden change in human tactics. Harper smiled tightly. "They can't predict us anymore," Rayner nodded. "That's our advantage. Humans improvise." Just as the battle seemed to turn, Echo 9 spoke again. "Commander, new signal detected. It's coming from the alien flagship, encrypted human data files." Harper's eyes widened. "They downloaded something during the last attack." Echo 9 paused. "And they are sending it to someone else." Rayner's stomach dropped. "To where?" The AI hesitated. "Unknown destination. Possibly their homeworld." The commander slammed his fist on the console. "They've learned enough about us to bring the real war." Outside the viewing glass, the alien fleet began to pull back. One by one, their ships vanished into the mist, retreating. Harper frowned. "Why are they leaving?" Rayner stared into the empty black, his voice low and grim. "Because they already got what they came for." The bridge fell silent again. The war wasn't over. It had just begun, and somewhere far beyond the stars, the Kether were preparing for their next move. The silence after the alien retreat felt heavier than the battle itself. The HSS Valiant floated quietly inside the black mist, its hull scarred and burning in several places. The crew worked quickly to repair the damage, but everyone knew the truth. The Kether weren't gone. They were regrouping, watching, waiting for their next strike. Commander Rayner stood near the viewing window, staring into the endless void. The stars were gone, hidden behind the strange fog that covered this sector of space. He could still feel the hum of the engines beneath his boots, steady but weaker than before. The Valiant had survived the first round, but it was far from safe. "Report," he said firmly. "Reactor stable, but power is low," replied the engineer over comms. "Weapons are functional at 70%. Shield generators are recharging, but we've lost 2 forward cannons." Rayner nodded. "Get them operational as soon as possible. We'll need every gun we have." Lieutenant Harper entered the bridge, her armor repaired, but her face showing signs of exhaustion. "Commander, we finished scanning the alien wreckage outside. We found something strange." Rayner turned. "What did you find?" Harper placed a small metallic shard on the table, dark, thin, and covered in faint glowing lines. "This came from the hull of one of their ships. But it's not just armor, it's alive." Rayner raised an eyebrow. "Alive?" "Yes, sir," Harper said. "Our readings show it's reacting to energy. When we brought it close to a power source, it started absorbing it. I think this is how the Kether repair their ships. They grow their armor." Rayner looked at the shard closely. It pulsed faintly like a heartbeat. "That means their ships can heal themselves." "Exactly," Harper said. "But there's more. When it absorbed energy, it also tried to send a signal, like it was calling something." Rayner's expression hardened. "Then it's a beacon." "Destroy it," Harper hesitated. "We tried, sir. It won't melt, burn, or break. It's like it knows what we're trying to do." Before Rayner could respond, the ship's lights dimmed for a moment, and the low hum of the engines stuttered. The bridge flickered with static. "Echo 9, Rayner said. "What's happening?" The ship's artificial voice came through, calm but distorted. "Unknown interference detected. Source appears internal." Harper's eyes widened. "The shard." Before they could react, the shard on the table began to glow brighter. Lines of green light crawled across its surface, spreading like veins. It pulsed faster and faster until it suddenly stopped, and a strange whisper filled the bridge speakers. "You cannot hide from the dark." The shard exploded into fine dust, releasing a wave of energy that spread through the ship. Systems flickered, screens turned to static, and the entire vessel shook violently. "Power surge!" the engineer shouted over comms. "Something's invading our data core." "Cut all main connections." Rayner ordered. "Run everything on manual backup." The crew scrambled to isolate the system. For several tense seconds, everything went dark. Then emergency lights came back on. The ship was still alive. Harper turned to Rayner. "So they're inside our system again. They used that shard to bypass our firewalls." Rayner's face was grim. "Then they've been watching us this whole time." Before anyone could respond, the proximity alarm screamed. The radar lit up with dozens of red blips. Multiple contacts incoming. The tactical officer shouted. "They've surrounded us." Rayner stepped forward. "So they want round two." Outside, the mist began to swirl violently as alien ships decloaked, their green lights cutting through the fog. The Kethar fleet had returned, larger than before. Their movements were faster, more coordinated, like predators closing in on prey. "Harper, all stations ready?" "Yes, sir. Every gun we have. Then let's show them what humans are made of." The Valiant opened fire first. Streams of plasma bolts and heavy missiles launched into the darkness, lighting up the void. Alien ships dodged and weaved, firing back with blinding green energy beams. The space around them turned into a storm of explosions and light. The alien ships moved in patterns no human could predict. They fought like a hive, one mind, many hands. But Rayner had a plan. "Target their formation leaders," he ordered. "Break the link between their wings." The crew obeyed instantly. The Valiant's cannons locked on and fired precise bursts. One alien leadership exploded, then another. Without their command signals, the smaller ships began to scatter and lose coordination. "Now hit the flank," Rayner commanded. The warship dove through the chaos, cutting across the enemy line. Harper's hands moved fast over the control panels, firing manual torpedoes directly into the largest ship. The explosion ripped through the mist, sending shockwaves across the battlefield, but victory came at a price. Another alien ship slammed a plasma beam into the Valiant's side. The ship trembled, alarms blaring, sparks flying from the ceiling, shields critical. The tactical officer shouted. Rayner gritted his teeth. "Keep firing! Don't give them a second to breathe." As the battle raged, Harper noticed something strange on her monitor. "Commander, look at this," she said. "The enemy's energy signatures are all coming from a single source. That big ship in the center." Rayner looked at the radar. "Their command vessel. If we destroy that, the rest might fall apart." Echo 9 spoke again, its voice faint and flickering. "Warning, enemy signal attempting full system override." "Harper, find a way to fight it," Rayner said. She looked down at her screen. "Wait, that alien device we found earlier. I salvaged a small piece from it before it exploded. It might be able to connect to their network." "Use it," Rayner said. "If we can turn their tech against them, do it." Harper took out the small fragment from her pocket. It glowed softly, reacting to the ship's energy. She connected it to a terminal. For a second, the bridge lights dimmed, and strange alien symbols appeared across the screen. "Commander," she said quietly, "I think I can see into their network." Rayner looked at her. "Can you shut it down?" Harper hesitated. "Maybe, but if I do this wrong, they might trace me." Directly to the ship, Rayner placed a hand on her shoulder. "Do it anyway." She nodded and started typing commands, her fingers flying. The alien symbols twisted and pulsed, merging with human code. Then suddenly Harper froze. "Sir," she whispered, eyes wide. "Something's speaking to me through the system." "What do you mean?" Her voice shook. "It's inside my mind." Rayner stepped forward, alarmed. "Disconnect it now." But Harper didn't move. Her eyes glowed faintly green for a second, and a low alien whisper filled the bridge. "You are connected now, human." "We see you." The screen flashed violently, and the entire ship shook again. Outside, the alien fleet began to regroup, but this time, they were heading straight for the Valiant. Rayner turned to the crew, voice sharp and steady. "All weapons ready! Hold your ground. If they want a war in the dark, then we'll give them one." The black mist burned with explosions as the battle resumed, brighter and fiercer than before. But now something had changed. Harper could still feel that whisper in her mind. Cold, watching and waiting, and deep inside the alien command ship, far beyond her sight, something whispered back. You cannot win. The darkness belongs to us. The HSS Valiant drifted through the chaos of battle, flames licking across its hull. The once proud warship was wounded and scarred, surrounded by burning debris. Explosions flashed like lightning across the dark mist as the alien fleet closed in again. Inside the ship, red warning lights pulsed across every deck, painting the corridors in blood-colored light. Commander Rayner stood firm on the bridge, gripping the rail as another impact shook the ship. Sparks fell from the ceiling, consoles flickered, and smoke filled the air. But his voice remained steady. "Status! Shields gone, hull breach on deck 6, the engineer shouted. "Weapons down to 30%. We've lost contact with engineering." Rayner looked around the bridge. His crew was battered and exhausted, faces pale under the red light, but their eyes still burned with determination. He knew they wouldn't give up, not until the end. "Keep firing," he said. "We're not done yet." The cannons roared again, spitting fire into the darkness. The Valiant's remaining torpedoes struck one alien ship, tearing it apart. The blast sent fragments spinning through space, glowing green as they burned. But for every alien ship destroyed, 2 more appeared. Lieutenant Harper sat at her station, pale and sweating. Ever since she had connected to the alien network, strange whispers had been echoing in her mind. Cold voices, thousands of them, moving like waves. She tried to ignore them, but they were growing louder. "Commander," she said quietly, "I can feel them. They're angry. They know we're trying to destroy their command ship." Rayner turned to her. "Can you still connect to them?" She nodded weakly. "Yes, but every time I do, they push back harder. It's like they're inside my head." "Then use that," he said. "If they can see us, you can see them. Find their weakness." Harper took a deep breath and placed her hands on the console. The alien symbols returned on her screen, glowing faint green. She closed her eyes. Her mind filled with static and whispers, thousands of alien voices speaking as one. "You are small. You are fragile. You cannot stop the swarm." She pushed deeper, fighting the pain that hit her like a storm. In the chaos, she saw something, a massive glowing sphere inside the alien command ship, pulsing like a heart. Every smaller ship's signal flowed through it. "Commander," she gasped, opening her eyes. "I found it. They have a central node, a core that controls their entire fleet. If we destroy it, they all fall." Rayner's eyes hardened. "Where is it?" "Inside their mothership," Harper said. "But we can't hit it from here. It's shielded. We'd have to get close, really close." The commander stared at the holographic map on the screen, his mind racing. "How close?" Harper met his gaze. "Inside the ship, sir." The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what that meant. Rayner straightened his jacket and spoke clearly. "Then that's what we'll do. We ram the Valiant straight into their mothership and take the core with us." The crew looked up at him in shock. "Sir, that's suicide," the tactical officer said quietly. "I know," Rayner replied. "But if we don't stop them here, billions will die when they reach human space. Earth won't survive this." For a long moment, no one spoke. Then Harper stood up. "I'll go with you to the end, sir." One by one, the rest of the bridge crew nodded. "All the way," said Knox over the comm. "We're not dying without taking them with us." Rayner's voice softened. "You've all served with honor. Humanity will remember what we did here." He turned toward the viewing glass, the alien mothership glowing faintly through the mist like a monstrous shadow. Helm set a collision course. Maximum speed. The engines screamed to life, pushing the Valiant forward. The ship shuddered under the strain, plates tearing and alarms wailing, but it kept moving. Ahead, the alien fleet tightened their formation, realizing what the humans were doing. Beams of green energy struck the Valiant, ripping through armor, but the ship didn't stop. "Power to engines," Rayner shouted. "Ignore everything else." "Engines at overload, sir," the engineer called back. "We won't survive the impact." Rayner nodded. "We don't need to." Harper gripped her console, sweat dripping from her forehead. "I can hold their systems back. They're trying to stop us from reaching the mothership. I can jam their targeting for a few more minutes." She focused again, forcing her mind into the alien network. The voices screamed, furious and panicked. "You cannot do this. You will destroy yourselves." Her vision blurred, but she smiled. "That's the point." The Valiant tore through 2 alien cruisers, its hull blazing with fire. The crew held tight as debris slammed against the ship. Every deck was shaking, lights flashing. Then through the smoke and chaos, the mothership appeared. An enormous black structure with glowing green veins spreading like roots across its surface. "There it is," Rayner said quietly. "The heart of the Kethar." Echo 9's voice broke through the static. "Commander, the core's energy readings are unstable. If you hit it at this speed, the explosion will consume the entire fleet." "Good," Rayner said. "Let's finish this." The alien fleet surrounded them, firing from every angle. The ship's armor burned away piece by piece, exposing the inner decks. Crew members shouted over the noise. Systems failed one after another, but the Valiant didn't stop. Impact in 30 seconds. Harper shouted. Rayner stood tall, watching the alien mothership grow larger on the screen. "To all crew," he said over the ship's speakers, "it's been an honor. Humanity stands because of you. Remember this moment? We are not prey. We are defenders." The crew cheered through the static, voices full of fire even as the ship fell apart around them. 10 seconds! Harper yelled. The mothership's core glowed brighter, sensing the danger. Alien ships tried to block the Valiant's path, but Rayner gave the final command. "All power to forward thrusters." The engines roared louder than ever before. The HSS Valiant became a burning spear of light cutting through the darkness. 5, 4, 3, Harper counted. Then the voices in her head screamed one last time. "You will fall with us." She whispered back, "Then we fall together." The ship struck the alien mothership dead center. For a heartbeat there was silence. Then the universe exploded. A massive shockwave tore through the mist, burning everything in its path. The alien fleet vanished in a storm of light and fire. The stars returned, shining through the darkness for the first time in hours. The HSS Valiant was gone. Only silence remained, but far from the wreckage, in the cold black of space, a single escape pod drifted among the debris, its lights faint but still alive. Inside, Lieutenant Harper lay unconscious, a small alien data core clutched in her hand. The battle was over, but humanity's war had only begun. The explosion had torn through the stars like a second sun. For a moment it seemed the universe itself had gone silent. In that silence, the wreckage of both fleets drifted endlessly. Fragments of metal, smoke and broken light fading into the black void. The mighty HSS Valiant was gone, leaving behind only whispers in the dark, but deep within that silence, an emergency beacon began to blink. A faint red light pulsed through the debris, slow and steady. Inside a small escape pod, Lieutenant Harper gasped for breath, her eyes flickering open. Her head throbbed, her body bruised and her suit torn, but she was alive. The last thing she remembered was the explosion, the deafening roar, the light swallowing everything. Now, all she could hear was the hum of the pod's failing systems. She looked through the small viewport. There was nothing but wreckage, floating like ghosts. The mothership was gone. The alien fleet was gone. She was alone. Harper struggled to sit up, pressing buttons on the cracked control panel. The pod's systems were failing fast. "Come on," she whispered, tapping the comm. "Anyone, do you copy? This is Lieutenant Harper of the HSS Valiant. Please respond." Only static replied. She leaned back, breathing heavily. Then she saw something, a faint green glow beside her. It was the alien data core, still intact. She had grabbed it moments before the collision, driven by instinct. The small crystal pulsed softly, alive with strange energy. She stared at it, remembering the alien voices that had screamed in her mind. "So, you're still here," she murmured. "Guess we both survived." The core flickered, almost like it understood. A faint hum filled the pod, and a voice, calm, metallic, and oddly human, spoke inside her mind. "You destroyed the hive." "Why?" Harper froze. "You can talk?" "I can communicate," the voice said. "You ended millions of us, yet you kept this piece alive." She looked out the window again at the endless dark. "Because I need to understand you," she said. I need to know why you came for us, why you killed so many." There was silence for a moment, then the voice replied, "Your kind spreads. You build, you consume. Our world died because of others like you. We wanted to stop it before you reached us." Harper clenched her fists. "So you started a war to stop something that hadn't even happened yet. You attacked without warning. You destroyed our colonies. You murdered families." The voice seemed quieter now. "War is never clean. You would have done the same." She shook her head. "No, we defend. We fight when we must. But you don't know what humanity becomes when you push us. You thought you could break us, but you made us stronger." The core pulsed again, and she could sense emotion, confusion, maybe even regret. Then the pod shook violently. Harper looked at the screen. A massive gravitational field was pulling her in. Her pod had drifted too close to a collapsing energy storm. The remains of the alien mothership's explosion. "Perfect," she muttered. Dying alone in space wasn't dramatic enough. She checked the systems. Oxygen low, engines weak, communication dead. There was only one option left. Use the last bit of power to send a signal home. She took a deep breath, opened the distress beacon manually, and began recording. "This is Lieutenant Harper, last survivor of the HSS Valiant. Mission complete. Alien fleet destroyed. Commander Rayner and all crew. They gave everything." Her voice cracked slightly. "If anyone finds this message, tell Earth. Tell them we're not done. The enemy's gone, but they'll come again. And when they do, we'll be ready." She pressed send. The pod's beacon flared one last time, sending a weak signal into the stars. The energy storm outside grew stronger. The pod shook as it was caught in the pull. The screens flickered. Harper closed her eyes, gripping the alien core tightly. The voice spoke again, softer now. "You fight even when there is no hope." She smiled faintly. "That's what makes us human." The storm swallowed the pod completely. For a long time, there was only silence. Then, somewhere far away, on the edge of human-controlled space, a listening post detected a faint signal, a broken transmission carrying Harper's final words. The crew on duty quickly decoded it, eyes widening as they realized what it meant. "The Valiant destroyed the alien fleet," one officer whispered. "They did it. Can we trace the signal?" Another asked. Faintly, the first one replied. "It's coming from deep space near Sector 9. There's a chance someone's alive." The commander of the station gave the order. "Send a rescue ship now. Bring them home." Hours later, a small rescue craft entered the wreckage field. The crew searched through twisted metal and shattered hulls. Then one of them shouted, "I've got something!" A small pod floated between two burning fragments of alien ships. The lights were almost out, but the beacon still blinked faintly. They pulled it aboard, cutting it open carefully. Inside, Harper lay unconscious, still holding the alien core against her chest. Her breathing was weak but steady. "She's alive," the medic said. "Barely, but she's alive." When Harper woke, she was surrounded by faces, humans, alive and safe. She blinked at the bright lights, confused at first, then smiled weakly. "Welcome back, Lieutenant," one of the rescuers said softly. "You made it." She turned her head to the window. Outside, the stars looked peaceful again, glowing gently through the darkness. "Did we win?" she whispered. The rescuer nodded. "Because of you. Because of all of them." Harper looked down at the alien core in her hand. It flickered softly, still alive, still listening. She whispered quietly, almost to herself, "Commander Rayner, we did it. Humanity stands." Outside, the rescue ship turned toward home. The war was over for now. But in the quiet hum of space, Harper knew it wasn't truly the end. Somewhere out there, other alien eyes were watching, waiting, learning, and when they came again, humanity would be ready, because humans don't give up. Humans don't break. The rescue ship Horizon Dawn cut silently through the black sea of space. Inside the medbay, Lieutenant Harper sat by the small window, watching distant stars slide past like silver trails. Her arm was bandaged, her face pale, but her eyes were alive, steady, strong, and filled with quiet fire. It had been 3 days since they pulled her from the wreckage. The doctor said she was lucky to survive the blast. She didn't feel lucky. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the HSS Valiant, burning, screaming, breaking apart in that final charge. She saw Commander Rayner standing firm, his voice calm even as everything fell apart, and she remembered his last words. "We are not prey. We are defenders." The door slid open behind her. Captain Doran of the Horizon Dawn stepped in, a tall man with grey at his temples and deep lines around his eyes. "Lieutenant Harper," he said softly, "you should be resting." "I can't," she replied. "Every time I sleep, I see it all over again." He nodded slowly, understanding. "The Valiant will be remembered, Harper. What you all did out there. It saved millions." She looked down at her hands, where the small alien core still pulsed faintly with green light. "We stopped their fleet," she said, "but not their kind. This," she lifted the core, "is proof that they're still out there watching." Captain Doran's eyes narrowed. "Do you think they'll come back?" "They will," she said quietly. "They always do." The captain sighed. "Then we'd better be ready." He hesitated for a moment, then added, "Command wants to see you when we reach the station. They said what you brought back could change everything." She gave a tired nod. "Let's hope it changes things for the better." Hours later, the Horizon Dawn docked at Atlas Station, the largest human outpost near the frontier. The moment Harper stepped out, soldiers saluted her. Scientists hurried to take the alien core, carefully locking it in a reinforced container. General Cade himself, tall, scarred, and stone-faced, came to meet her. "Lieutenant Harper," he said, his voice rough but respectful. "I've read your report. You and your crew did what no one thought possible." Harper stood straight. "We just did our duty, sir." He studied her for a moment. "That data core you recovered? It's incredible. Our scientists say it contains alien schematics, communication patterns, even information about other species. If we can decode it, we'll know what's coming." Harper looked at the glowing case. "Be careful, sir. It's not just a machine. It can think, it can talk. It remembers." Cade raised an eyebrow. "Talk?" "Yes," she said. "It spoke to me. It knows what we did to their fleet. And I think it's afraid." That made the general pause. "Good," he said finally. "Maybe fear will make them think twice before they come again." Later in her quarters, Harper sat alone. The station hummed quietly around her. Distant engines, footsteps, soft voices on the intercom. She picked up the small communicator on her desk and opened the last message she had recorded before the explosion. It was a log entry from Commander Rayner, recovered from the ship's black box. His voice echoed through the room. "If you're hearing this, it means the Valiant did her job. Remember, humanity doesn't bow. We don't surrender. Even when the stars fall, we rise again." Harper closed her eyes, listening to his words. They felt like a promise. Then she looked out the window again. The stars were peaceful now, but she knew that peace was fragile. Somewhere, beyond the edge of human space, other eyes were watching. The war wasn't over. It had only shifted into silence. She spoke softly, more to herself than anyone. "We'll be ready next time." At that moment, the alien core, locked deep in the research bay, began to glow brighter. Inside the case, symbols appeared across its surface, moving rapidly like living light. A faint hum filled the lab. The scientists monitoring it leaned closer. One of them frowned. "It's transmitting something." Before they could react, the symbols froze, forming a single message in clear human script: "We are not finished." The lights flickered across the lab, and then the core went dark. 2 weeks later, Earth held a grand ceremony. Holographic banners filled the skies. The names of every fallen crew member of the HSS Valiant shone in gold across the screen. The story of their sacrifice spread across every colony, every outpost, every ship. Harper stood among the honored survivors, dressed in her new uniform. The president of the Federation spoke proudly to the crowd. "The crew of the Valiant proved that humanity stands strong, even when the universe stands against us. Their courage will echo through time. They showed the stars one truth, that humans do not break." The crowd erupted in applause, voices echoing through the city. Harper felt tears sting her eyes. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "We made it, Commander. They'll never forget you." and somewhere far beyond human space, in the cold silence of a ruined world, another signal pulsed faintly, alien voices whispering, rebuilding, remembering, the war would return one day. But when it did, humanity would not face it unprepared. The HSS Valiant had lit a fire that would never die, because in the heart of every human, from Earth to the stars, burned the same unshakable truth. Humans don't give up. Humans don't break. Humans fight back.